Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're getting into a review of an item along with a little bit of a talking point. So this right here is a picture frame. I'm gonna have a link in the description down below for you guys to purchase this on Amazon. This is a 20 by 30. I forget the name of the brand off the top of my head, but like I said, the link's gonna be in the description along with, I'll put the brand in the title. But I purchased this recently to be able to hang up some photos. And I wanted to get into a little bit of a rant about, besides for, I have, this is pretty much the way it looks. Before I get into all the details of this, I had a discussion recently with family about how a lot of people don't actually take their memories off their phone. And I think that's very important. I had spoke on that, I believe, on the channel a while back, where I had actually reviewed some picture albums and so photo albums. And I think this is something that we need to do as people. We need to get into that space where we put our memories up on the wall. I feel like now that we come to the digital age, we don't really do that as much. Whereas when we used to come from the film age of photos, you had to print them to even see them. So that automatically meant that once you printed them, they were in a form in which you could utilize. Now we don't have to do that. You can keep them on your phone, which is the primary place you're gonna have your photos, or in a camera. And you never get a chance to have those memories on display. For several reasons, this could be a problem. One is because if something ever happens to you or happens to your phone, you now lose all those memories. Or God forbid something happens to you and no one else has access to get to your memories because your phone is locked. But then two, you're not displaying things. You're not enjoying the photos any point in time. The point of them is to enjoy those memories during the time that you are around to be able to enjoy them. So this right here is actually a pretty affordable brand for 20 by 30. This was a 3-pack for the price of roughly about $37, I want to say. And I did the math and it came up to about $12 and like 60 something cents per each one when you broke down the price. And here I just put a photo in there because I'm into photography, which I showed on the channel before as a hobby. And so I just kind of put this photo there. Sorry about a lot of the glare. Yeah, you can't really see it all that well, so I apologize for that. But nonetheless, it's of the George Washington Bridge. But nonetheless, the point of this is for you guys to get into that space where you guys have photos that you guys put up of your family members or whatever the case is, and just get into that space. It's important for you to preserve your memories, but it's also important for you to share them, display them, so you understand. Gives you a better sense also of like why, you know what I mean, you do what you do in terms of your motivations. Like you have pictures of family, this and that. This is more of like a hobby type of photography, so it's different. It's for the purpose of like art on the wall and display. But I'm definitely really trying to emphasize, if you have guys with family, you want to have that up, and you guys want to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach in a clip on here of this right here, of the whole unboxing process of the frames and setting this whole thing up in here, so you guys are able to see how that goes and see if, you know, just as far as like knowing how that goes and if this is something that suits you in terms of this type of frame. But aside for that, like I said, I'm gonna just start that at the end of the video, so don't mind. And aside from that, yeah, you guys, like I said, like if you guys are interested in the process, check out the link down below, but definitely find a way to get your memories posted up in the real world and not just in a space like social media or keeping them on your phone. As always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Oh, it says, please peel off the protective film from both sides. So when I used to deal with these types before, and even on the smaller frames, they do the same thing. But essentially what they do is to protect the glass part, which is often plexiglass, which it kind of needs to be because you don't want this to be very heavy. But plexiglass can scratch, so they put a plastic film over it, not the one that you see here, but another plastic film underneath that. So we're gonna rip into this now, and be careful, you guys, when it comes to I'm doing this with a knife because you also don't want to scrape up your frame. So I'm turning it around this side, pulling out a knife that is a little bit sharper so I can actually get some leverage. Okay. So just to give you guys heads up, if you've never had frames like these, they're very thin and they're a little bit unconventional when it comes to the way that you put them into the framing. So a lot of people might feel a way about that. And, you know, I hope that that you guys, I'm going to show you and demonstrate it for you guys here how it works. And then maybe you guys will be able to, you know, see if it's for you, because it may not be for you. I'll describe it once I get this plastic off. And of course, I put the knife away and I still need it. What's nice about these frames, these type of frames, like I said, I had frames like this before in the past, many years back, because I've been in photography for a long time. But at the same time, you know, they were a different brand, but same concept. And what I'll say to you is, what I like about these frames, if you like the minimalist look and they're light and they're affordable, and it's just, you want almost like all, similar to the way people feel about TVs. You want very little bezel and all screen. Well, that's what these types are like. Now, some people take pride in the fact that they like a picture that has fancy borders, like with, and I did a review one time on some frames a while back that was smaller size for like 8 by 10, you know, a normal picture style size, like regular piece of paper. What is it? Letterhead size paper, framing size. And that had a thick bezel, you know, framing. And some people like that. So my point I'm getting at is that there's art in the frame of it as well. But some people just like, I want just the image and I want the minimalist look going on. So that's where these will come into play. So either they're for you or they're not. Now, the way they work is this, you guys can't see that I'm slightly trying to pull the edge off here. Let me move this over a little bit so you could see it. The way these work is like this. You pull the edge off like that. That's how it goes. Do the same with this one here. And that's what keeps them in place. So it's a, like I said, I got used to this design. These are always the type I always had. I used to buy them at Michael's, a different brand, but then they stopped selling them. Frames have gotten expensive over the years since when I used to have a bunch of photos up. So be mindful of that. But at that time frame, these are the type I used to have because they were the most affordable. And like I said, they were all picture and no frame. And I was always a fan of that. So what we're gonna try to do is this, because it's not easy. There's a film on both sides of this plexiglass, the top and the bottom. And getting it off is not easy. But you also have to be very careful because you don't want to get fingerprints on it. Give me a second to get a grip on it. All right, I got a little piece. So I'm gonna peel on this side here. And I'm peeling from the bottom of it first. I gotta move this out the way, you guys. Sorry, I can't do it while you're seeing it because it's gonna kind of get all over the place. So what I'm gonna do is I want to drop this back down onto this just to give it a surface to lay down on. Now, I'm gonna put a picture here that goes vertical. I'm sorry, not vertical, landscape. So that way it's gonna now make the whole scene fit the camera's angle. I am gonna lift this out of the way because I gotta be able to get this picture down, and I'm not gonna be able to do that like that. But what's great is by leaving the film part on the top layer, if I lean this on something, it's not gonna get dirty because that side still has the film on it. So that's why you want to leave that on there. I'm going to take this. It's funny because this could be its own picture itself that someone could keep and put on the wall. But which is kind of like what's interesting about that is it's like free art. You know what I mean? Which is kind of cool, I think. But being that I'm a photographer and into photography, I would never do something like that. Now, I do have an issue though. I have a major issue, and that is this is folded and it's actually pretty wrinkled. So a little story behind this is I'm gonna see if I can fold this out without I gotta put something on it so that way it's not, I can get that the framing on top of it, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to put something heavy down just to do this. But besides for the fact that this has been rolled up for a while, but it's also kind of bent because I ordered this from Costco's website. Sends you, now they outsource to Shutterfly, for those who are familiar with Costco, and now they outsource to Shutterfly. The issue with that was I placed the order, and half of my photos, I actually placed the order to give as a gift to a friend. But half of my photos came back damaged. So I told them and they sent me new ones. So now I had these damaged ones that were just simply not rolled right. That's all. And eventually I was like, well, let me just hang them up. Yes, they're not in good condition, but they're still photos. I can use them. So that is what I'm doing now. And I hope that by putting them into a frame, it will flatten them out a little bit, even if they aren't perfect. And that's the story behind why this is the way it is. What I'm gonna do is align everything up so you guys don't have to wait to see that. And then once I do, I'm gonna start putting the sides on. So I just want to show you guys a little something just in case you guys are in the same predicament, but I don't think you would be if you have normal flat photos. But then again, I am also used to, when I used to get my photos from Costco and they did the print center at Costco, I think if I'm not mistaken, they were put in large sleeves rather than rolled sleeves. I can't remember, but it definitely was different than having them in these little boxes rolled up in plastics and in these boxes when you're getting them shipped to you. But what it is I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these pieces on here, but this is just to give me some bearing, so when I put the rest of it on, it's a little bit easier. Now, one thing that I will say with this that gets a little tough is you can't slide these things further down unless they're mostly off, like not clamped on. So what I mean by that is you can't clamp them on and then you see it's not really aligned. Now you want to slide them down further. It doesn't really work that way. So just be mindful of that. Once you press them in, they're pretty solid as far as being in. Here we go with that. I don't really like the way this is completely aligned, but trying to have it work as best as possible without being too crazy. What I'll do is pull this side off first. And now I'm going to try to put this piece on over here. Bear with me, you guys, that this is a proper unboxing and installation, if you want to call it that, so you guys can see how things work, because I want you guys to know how it works in its entirety and not just the easy aspect of it all. Here we go, sliding these on, and there we go there. And now like I said, I don't pull all of it off because now I can use this, as you see, to lean on, and I'm not putting smudges on the plexiglass of the picture frame. Get this in here. Now, one thing with these things, these frames, is you're not always going to have them on perfect. It just kind of comes with the territory because of the way that they're done. But that's just how it goes. There we go. And then now just pull that side down a little bit, and we're gonna now come from the top area. I'm gonna probably hit the camera, so don't mind you guys. Sorry about that in advance. There we go. I'll line it up as best as possible. What I'm going to do is lift this up and just push downwards. It's going to just make it a little bit easier for me, you guys, right now, because the photo underneath is trying to push upwards, and that's why this is happening. There we go. It's not completely even the way it's supposed to be, but it's not bad. Let me see if I can slide this over a little bit. Okay. Slide a little bit of that framing over, just a tad bit. It is hitting the edge of the photo, and it's now actually destroying a little bit of the tip of the photo, but that part of the photo is hidden underneath the frame. Up here, some of the photo was coming out of the glass part, so it did kind of scratch it a little bit. You could see here, like I said, it's not perfect. But it's okay. So now I'm gonna just pull this off, and you guys can see here now how that looks. I'll catch you guys in the next video.